The small story of bus driver Stephen reminds us that we should have the courage to do the right thing, even when it seems difficult, or goes unrecognized, because sooner or later, the universe will respond. Let us know where you're watching from. Now, relax and enjoy this amazing story. Stephen's life had always been predictable. Every day, he woke up at dawn, drove the same bus route, greeted the same passengers, and went home exhausted. Despite the hardships, Stephen always tried to stay positive. His only motivation was providing for his family, his wife, Penelope, and their 2 young children. One summer afternoon, Stephen was on his usual route. The sky was gray, and a light drizzle began to fall. He noticed a young child, no more than 7 or 8 years old, standing alone at a bus stop. The boy didn't board the bus like everyone else. Instead, he stood there, frozen in place. Stephen hesitated for a moment, glancing at the clock. He was already running a few minutes late, and his boss had been strict about staying on schedule. But something inside him wouldn't let him just drive away. He opened the door, leaned out, and called to the child. "Are you lost, buddy?" The boy nodded slowly, tears welling up in his eyes. He looked around, hoping to spot a parent or someone who might be looking for the boy, but there was no one. Stephen made a quick decision. He stepped off the bus, crouched down to the boy's level, and asked, "Where's your home? Do you know where you live?" "I can't find my mom." Stephen knew he couldn't leave the child like this. Even though he was breaking protocol, he guided the boy onto the bus and radioed his dispatcher to explain the situation. The response wasn't what he expected. His boss, Mr. Thomas, was furious. "Stephen, we've talked about this before. You can't get off schedule for any reason. You should have called the police. Now you're behind, and I'm getting complaints." Stephen tried to defend himself, explaining that the child was scared and needed help. But his boss wasn't interested in excuses. "Finish your route immediately and deal with the situation afterward." Stephen couldn't bring himself to abandon the boy. Instead, he finished his route as quickly as possible, then took the child to the nearest police station. It was only after the boy was safely in the hands of the authorities that Stephen returned to the bus depot. He expected a warning, maybe a scolding, but nothing could have prepared him for what happened next. When Stephen arrived back at the bus depot, he was immediately called into his boss's office. Mr. Thomas sat behind his desk, a frown etched deeply across his face. "Stephen, what you did today was unacceptable. You went off schedule, ignored direct orders, and now I'm getting complaints from passengers. This can't happen in this line of work." Stephen felt a knot form in his stomach. He had been working at this job for years and had never caused any trouble. "I was just trying to help the boy." "That's not the point, Stephen. We have rules for a reason. You need to follow them, or there are consequences." Stephen stood there in silence for a moment. He had always followed the rules, but today something had been different. That boy was lost, alone, and scared. Stephen couldn't just leave him behind. "I understand, Mr. Thomas, but that boy needed help. I couldn't just leave him there." Mr. Thomas sighed, shaking his head. "Stephen, I don't have time for excuses. I've made my decision. You're fired, effective immediately." The words hit Stephen like a punch to the gut. Fired. After all these years. He couldn't believe it. His mind raced, thinking about his family, the bills, and how he would explain this to Penelope. "But I need this job. Please. I was just trying to do the right thing." Mr. Thomas looked at him with no emotion. "I'm sorry, Stephen, but it's done. You can collect your things and leave." Stephen walked out of the office in a daze, fired, for doing something he thought was right. It didn't make sense. He had helped a child. How could that be wrong? But now, he was out of a job, with no idea how he would support his family. That evening, Stephen sat at the kitchen table with Penelope. He told her everything, how he had helped the boy, how his boss didn't care, and how he had lost his job because of it. Penelope sat quietly, her eyes full of concern. "I'm proud of you, Stephen. You did the right thing. Don't let them make you feel like you didn't." "I know. But now what? What are we going to do?" "We'll figure it out. We always do." Days passed, and Stephen searched tirelessly for a new job, but no matter where he looked, there was nothing available. The weight of his situation grew heavier with each passing day. He began to feel like he had made a mistake, like maybe he should have followed the rules, even if it meant leaving that boy behind. Just as Stephen was beginning to lose hope, something unexpected happened. One morning, as he was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at the classified ads in the newspaper, the phone rang. Penelope answered it, and her face immediately changed. "It's for you, Stephen. It's the governor's office." Stephen's heart raced. The governor's office? Why would they be calling him? He took the phone, his hands trembling slightly. "Hello. This is Stephen?" The voice on the other end was calm and professional. "Mr. Stephen, this is Rachel from the governor's office. We've heard about the situation involving the lost child you helped. The governor would like to speak with you personally." Stephen was speechless. The governor wanted to speak with him? He stood there, gripping the phone, his mind racing. He had no idea why the governor's office would want to speak with him. Was this about the lost child? Could they be upset with him too? His thoughts swirled, but he took a deep breath and tried to remain calm. "Yes. I'd be happy to speak with the governor. Please hold for just a moment," the woman on the other end said. Stephen could hear soft music playing while he was on hold. He glanced over at Penelope, who was sitting across from him, her expression a mix of confusion and concern. He gave her a small nod, but inside, he wasn't sure what to expect. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, a new voice came on the line. It was deep, warm, and full of authority. "Mr. Stephen, this is Governor Mitchell. I wanted to personally thank you for what you did." Stephen was momentarily stunned. The governor was thanking him? I just did what I thought was right, sir. That's exactly why I'm calling. I heard about what happened. About the boy you helped. Most people wouldn't have gone out of their way the way you did, especially knowing it could cost them their job. But you didn't hesitate. That's the kind of character we need more of in this world. Stephen felt his chest tighten, not with fear this time, but with gratitude. It had been days since he was fired, and he had started to doubt himself. Hearing these words from someone, as important as the governor, meant more than he could put into words. Thank you, Governor. But I've lost my job because of it. And now, I don't know what's going to happen. I understand, Mr. Stephen, and that's why I'm calling. You see, the child you helped, his family's very important to me. In fact, that boy is my nephew. His mother, my sister, had been desperately looking for him that day. She was beside herself with worry, and when she found out you had stepped in to help him, well, let's just say she's forever grateful. I had no idea. I just saw a child who needed help. I couldn't leave him there. And that's exactly why we want to help you, Mr. Stephen. Losing your job for doing the right thing, that's not something I can ignore. My office has spoken with a few people, and I have an offer for you. There is an opportunity for you at the State Department of Transportation, a special training program designed for individuals with hands-on experience in public transportation who are looking to advance their careers. If you successfully complete this course, you could take on a more significant role with better pay and benefits than your previous job as a bus driver. I don't know what to say, Governor. I'm truly overwhelmed. Stephen stammered, his voice thick with emotion. You deserve this, Stephen. Our family wants to thank you for what you did for my nephew. My office will contact you soon with all the details. Congratulations. And once again, thank you for your kindness. Stephen hung up the phone, still unable to believe what had just happened. He turned to Penelope, who had been listening to the conversation from the beginning. "What did they say?" Stephen smiled, feeling a wave of relief wash over him. "They offered me a spot in a training program at the State Department of Transportation, and if I complete it, I could get a much better job than driving a bus." Penelope's face lit up with joy. "Stephen, this is unbelievable. That's amazing. I can't believe it either. But maybe helping that little boy really did change everything." They sat together in silence, the weight of the past few days gradually lifting. Stephen had never imagined that a simple act of kindness could lead to such a life-changing opportunity. But it had. And as he thought back to that moment, standing in the rain with the lost boy, he realized that sometimes doing the right thing wasn't just about following the rules, but about listening to your heart. Stephen knew she was right. In helping that boy, he had found not just a new job, but a new sense of purpose, a reminder that doing the right thing, even when it seems difficult or costly, can lead to blessings far beyond what we can see. And as he sat there, reflecting on everything, he knew one thing for sure. When you lead with compassion, when you choose kindness, even when it costs you, the universe has a way of paying it forward. Sometimes, in ways you could never imagine. Stephen helped the little boy not for personal gain, but simply because it was the right thing to do. The price he paid was losing his job, but that very act of kindness opened new doors in his life. A better opportunity, a more stable job, and the appreciation of those around him. Would you be willing to help someone in need, even if it directly affected your job, just like Stephen did? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story touched your heart, give it a like and share it with others. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to hear more inspiring stories. Goodbye, and see you soon.